What's going on, everybody? My name is Terminus, and today we are going to delve into the depths of the human psyche. We're not. We're actually not. We're just watching Monster. And so far it's just been suspense building and whatever. Actually, I don't even need these. What the fuck? I don't need these. But we're gonna put them on there anyway. Yeah, we're gonna watch Monster. We're gonna do a quick little recap of what happened last time, and then we're gonna make our way into the next episode, because last time was actually more of whatchamacallit, last time was actually more of an end to an arc, I would almost say, right? If you think about it, this is right here on the screen. It's the main arc, right? We are trying to save Nina / Anna, who's struggling with herself, right? Remembering all these things that happened, and Tenma is getting into the thick of it, right? Trusting nobody. The police is involved, right? It's a grand conspiracy. Him looking at this is such an amazing picture of like him looking at the broken glass with the shot through almost through the mirror, coming through the door behind him, or possibly, right, this is a window and he's looking through the window that got shot, which is representing like Johan's incident with the Lieberts, where Anna tried to kill him. But yeah, jumping across this, we do arrive at the parents' home, and obviously they're dead, right? And there has to be a lot of survivor's guilt going on within Anna, because this was one of the main reasons she tells us within the episode that she tried to kill her brother, right? Because her brother was one of the people, or her brother was the person who was responsible for everybody who took them in as children suddenly dying. Or at the very least, this is heavily implied, right? They always were together, right? They always were taken in by a family, and at some point they always got shot. What I find very interesting is that according to our information, these two actually took in the brother as well, and something happened that had the brother being separated from her. Or at the very least, if I understood that correctly, it's possible that I didn't understand it correctly and that this isn't how it actually was, but this is kind of the feeling I got, right? Again, great way to shows like a shot like this from up above, but at a slightly diagonal angle, right? Showing all of the subjects in one place, and like just the impact that like the scene that spreads itself in front of our protagonists, and the desperation of Tenma of having made a mistake again, right? Being unable to save these people as well, and not only that, even dragging our Mr. Maura, I think, right? Maura-san, dragging him into this. Anna being in shock, remembering everything. The lucky strike, right? All of these products and things that back then were common things. But I do wonder how Anna will continue, right? How she will continue, because after that initial shock, she's a fighter, right? We talked about this, right? Suspicious people, but actually being from the police, and this is even more scary, right? Because now you don't know who to trust. Tenma, I do like that Tenma is a smart protagonist, right? That he isn't stumbling from one into the next, but that he's very observant, right? He realizes things very quickly, and even though he's too trusting and naive with people, he kind of gets that naivety slowly torn away as our story goes on. And one of the main aspects I do really love is that we have a protagonist who goes through this and is observant and attentive, and is trying his best to actually unriddle this mystery, to get to the bottom of it and actually save the people who are potentially in harm's way. And that goes for Anna too, and I do think that at the end of this episode, when Anna leaves her letter and is like, you're not responsible, keep helping people, I do think that this has a very adverse effect on him, because he feels like, even though it's her responsibility, even though it is her decision that she made, I do think he does feel heavily responsible for her, right? For her actually leaving, right? For not preventing her from leaving and continuing to protect her. And now he's gonna try to be on her trail, right? By being possibly on Johan's trail as well, trying to continuously protect her, maybe even protect her from herself because of her actions, right? Wanting to prevent that she ends up being this person that kills her brother again, right? Because this is trauma again, right? She does have a very close bond, or used to have a very close bond to her brother, and discovered he's this kind of cruel, uncaring, except for her, uncaring person that does these heinous things to people who are very, very nice to them. And she makes that hard decision to actually get rid of him in order to save the people that just mean well and want to take care of her and her brother. And then it doesn't happen. On the one hand, I do feel like there's a tiny aspect of herself that has a little bit of resentment for Tenma for actually bringing her brother back to life or saving his life. On the other hand, I do feel there's also a tiny aspect, or there could be a tiny aspect of her who idolizes Dr. Tenma because he saved her back then and her memories kind of crept back in, right? And because he's such a nice guy who cares so much for people and just wants to save lives, right? She rightfully detected this nature of his, right? The personality that he has deep down, rightfully identified that, and was like, I want you to not blame yourself. And I do think there might be some idolization going on down the line, right? That she does have in conjunction with possibly a tiny bit of her that is also resenting him because he is the person that kept the monster alive. And he is also the person that kind of brought her back into this harsh, cruel reality that she was deluding herself from, right? That she was not thinking about, having forgotten it, right? Living in her little safe, little happy world, and bringing her back into this harsh reality, right? And the memories that she didn't want to remember, her trauma, right? Because trauma is not only, we talked about how trauma is oftentimes a very life-threatening event, right? A near-death experience, something like that. And we can transfer that from near-death experience to other things that are maybe equivalent to near-death, right? That give you a similar fear response than having your own life threatened. Possibly trauma can also be having the life of somebody who is very dear to you threatened, or somebody killed or hurt that you are very close to. But it can also be being forced, or feeling like you're being forced to do something that you yourself, in the way you grew up, in your morals, or just your nature, right? Your basic personality and temperament feels wrong, right? Something you can't forgive yourself for, but you feel like you didn't have a choice. In this case, it's Anna's decision to actually shoot Johan. And this is haunting her on the one hand because he's still alive and she doesn't know what feelings he has for her, if he just wants to be with her, or if he does have resentment and revenge there, right? If he wants to make her hurt, or if alternatively, yeah. And then there's the aspect of like, if she does forgive herself for it, right? For the basic action of trying to, or wanting to, or actually attempting to kill a human being. But yeah, Tenma blames himself. I'm sure Anna blames herself. There's a lot of complicated feelings going on that we have to untangle as the story goes on. The press is involved now, right, with all of these murder cases. Tenma is still being suspected, although I think 𝐏𝐢𝐏 will come to the conclusion that it's actually not Tenma in the end. Tenma doesn't know who to trust, so he's a fugitive. And even if that's not the case, right, even if they would not be actively searching for him or blame him or whatever, he would still feel like he's a fugitive, right? But he still feels like he has to do something about this. He has to save Anna. He has to stop Johan. Has to save any more victims that will come Johan's way, or that Johan will move towards. But yeah, you need to take better care of yourself, dude, right? That's the interesting thing. A lot of people, they don't practice what they preach, right? Like doctors, whatever, right? They say like, look, it's not good if you smoke or drink. You should keep your sleep regimen as well maintained as possible, because sleep is very, very important. You should definitely take care of yourself in terms of nutrition and drink a lot and whatever. And then on the other hand, you have doctors who are doing like, I don't know, like 24-hour plus shifts. Even worse, right? Back in the day, it was 70 plus hours, whatever. They're not getting enough sleep, right? They're taking more care of others than they're taking care of themselves. They, in their quest to actually help people, they will not take enough care of themselves, and that is a big, in my opinion, that is a big failure, because in the end, the longer you take care of yourself and try to maintain physical and mental health, and try to stay in balance with that, the longer you can actually help other people, right? The longer you remain capable to do your job, which is what you desire to do, right? Help and save other people and take care of them. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. This thing is still like, the change of the DED is still insane. Holy shit. Yeah, you know the deal. If you are new to this, there's actually a couple of episodes that you can still watch, so go watch them. Other than that, pip in the description down below. Edit a reaction right here. Check out the Discord, check out the Patreon. If you did like this video at the end of it, subscribe to the channel for more content on Monster, and give me a like. I would really appreciate it. See you in the reaction. Alright, Monster episode 8 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Dr. Tenma, あなたは悪くない。
It really wasn't.
サンドイッチを食べてください。
Eat the burgers.
あなたは生き延びてください。そして一人でも多くの人を助けてください。
Man, Tenma, this is gonna be rough, isn't it? Holy shit.
君はこれからどうするつもりだ?
What indeed do you intend to do?
私が彼を生き返らせてしまったんだ。
It's my responsibility.
私があのモンスターを
And I do love
生き返らせてしまったんだ。
that we leave time for the dialogue to breathe. We leave time for the dialogue to breathe. That is something that a lot of series these days are not doing, right? We do have constant action. We have boom, 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 boom. In this series, we still leave pauses, right? For effect. And I do love that. So I think I do see Ava in there, so it feels like Ava is still a part of this. I do wonder how she's gonna be a part of this. I do love the sound vibrations in the intro to distort the thing. And we're back in the medical room, okay. Do we go back to Johan? No. Oh, we have a normal operation going on. But he looks freshened up, right? Alright. Wait, he... Oh, and he keeps being a doctor. Okay, extended leave. Does he make peace with it? But he is pursued. Who is pursuing whom? A toppled over vase and a chair. Isn't that the home of like the old man? No, it's not. Okay. Oh, okay. Holy shit. I do love the glass rolling. And it seems she's not over it. Okay. Maybe there's more to her.
君のパパのニュースだよ。僕がこうしてドイツでやっていけるのも君のお父さんのおかげだからね。
頑張ってケンゾ。
Do we see her perspective now, right?
父が病院の理事長になるのは時間の問題だし、そしたらあなたもすぐに外科部長、ゆくゆくは院長。
She might not be 100% right, but that doesn't, and her worldview might not be great.
私に苦労は似合わないから。
But that doesn't mean that she doesn't have good in her, right? Looks can be looks can be deceiving. And sometimes your appearance can make it harder, right? The way her eyes are makes her seem mean, right? Especially with the worldview she has. But she's a human being too, right? This is gonna turn two ways, right? Resentment towards Tenma for leaving her. Or the other way around, right? This is Lunga.
奥様申し訳ございません。警察の方が。
警察？
What's up, my man?
エヴァ・ハイネマンさん。
だ。
9年前のお父様の事件の際にはお世話になりました。
Right.
放送作局のルンゲです。
ルンゲ？ああ。あなたのこと思い出したわ。
I'll
事
call
件
in
も
the
ろくに
morning.
解決できないヘボ刑事ね。今さら私に何の用なの？
お父様の死
Spit
後
the poison.
この大邸宅をこうして維持されているとは大したものですね。
She's probably doing something. What's she
父の遺
working?
産と離婚の慰謝料で私がどれだけ儲けたか見に来たってわけ。ご覧の通りよ。何不自由ないわ。何かお気に入りのものがあったらお持ち帰りになって。
She does have a
私
problem.
はお酒があればそれで十分。
このネクタイなんですがね。
ネクタイ。
見覚えありませんか？
I mean, it's a long shot, right? It's been years.
よく見ると折り柄が非常に凝っていて、なかなかいい品ですよ。
それがどうしたの？
Is she gonna rat him
どうしま
out?
したよ。何しろ9年前の品です。しかし運よくこの商品はその店の上得意の客に向けた
Bro's been doing the works, holy shit.
その店の顧客リストにあなたの名前を見つけたんです。
Yeah, and he
だから
thinks it's
なんだって
Tenma's.
いうのよ。
あなた、これを買われて誰かにプレゼントなさいませんでしたか？ある殺人事件の重要な鍵になるんですがね。
殺人。
She doesn't believe Tenma is a murderer, right? Like, she can't judge a character.
男にプレゼントなんて山ほどしたからいちいち覚えてらんないわ。何しろ私に寄ってくる男はみんな私のお金が目当てですもの。
Ouch.
よく思い出してください。
知らないって言ってるでしょ。どいつもこいつも金目当て。私を心から愛する人間なんかいやしないわ。だから逆に慰謝料山ほど踏んだくってやったのよ。3回ともね。ざまあみろだわ。あなたも何か欲しい？何か欲しいの？言ってごらんなさい。その代わり高くつくわよ。
また伺います。
Hmm.
何か思い出したらご連絡ください。
今度来るときはお酒の一本も持ってらっしゃい。
Yeah. The fact that she has that picture of the 9 years.
失礼。
That says a lot, right? And it recontextualizes what we think about her, probably. Even if she's not the greatest human being in the world. There was something there. Yeah. But she was too used to the politicking And too loyal to her father, I guess. Though we see the theme now.
僕は間違ったことはしていない。僕はただ休館を運び込まれた順番通りにオペしただけなんだ。
あなたって本当にバカね。
What will we see once the door closes? This is definitely gnawing on her, so she recognizes it as a mistake in her life, right?
いやー、ヘッさん、元気にな。
ありがとうございます、ドクター天馬。来月、娘の結婚式なんだが、出席できますかね。
ええ、大丈夫です。でも宴会で羽目を外さないようにしてくださいよ。
諦めてたんだが、ドクター天馬のおかげだ。
ヘッさんが頑張ったからですよ。
あんたがずっとついていてくれたら、娘どころか孫の結婚式まで拝めそうだ。あんた本当にずっとこの病院にいてください。
Isn't this what he's here for, right? This feeds him.
ドクター天馬、お客様です。
Is it Lunga or Eva? I think it's Eva.
くれないか。
でも。
A simple dress, interestingly enough, right? You do see like oftentimes she's like made up and whatnot, but here she's dressed very simply.
久しぶりね、健三。
ああ。
私たちいろいろあったわね。おやすみ。
I mean, you can't forget, right? She saw her father killed, right? The dead body of her father. That's also some serious shit. No matter how much of an asshole he was, for her, he was still her father.
エヴァ。
お父様を返して。お父様。健三。お願い。私が悪かったわ。健三。
And it's all in her mind, like it was yesterday.
ずれたんじゃない？
いや。
長期休暇を取ってたそうね。そうよ。たまにはこうやって体を休めなくちゃ。あなた仕事の虫だもの。
君も少し痩せたんじゃないか。
いろいろあったから。噂で聞いてるでしょ。
ああ。
He knows why she's here, approximately.
春ね。覚えてる？ 10 年前の春。2人でよくドライブに行ったじゃない。若かったわね。この時期にあなた川で泳ごうとしたのよ。そしたらあなたったら。
悪いんだけど。
He's gonna interrupt this. Yeah.
エヴァ、時間がないんだ。
健三。やり直したいの。
Okay.
3回の結婚の失敗で初めて分かったの。私のこと本当に愛してくれたのは健三、あなただけだったわ。
But
悪いんだけど。
it's not that the case anymore, right? And he's not the
お願い健三。
right? He's not the person who's like
君の気持ちを
out for revenge or resentment.
私黙ってたんだから。警察があなたのネクタイのこと聞いてきたけど。
No, that piqued his interest.
あのネクタイは確かに私があなたにプレゼントしたものだわ。私の言う通りにすれば黙っていてあげるわ。
And she's trying to power play him like she learned from her father,
僕に
probably.
はやらなきゃいけないことがあるんだ。
Yeah, I mean, desperate, right? She does it for her own reasons, but...
それなら全部言うわよ。ネクタイのこと警察に話すわよ。9年前お父様たちを殺したのも全部あなたの仕業だって。
She doesn't even believe it herself, I think.
重要参考人としてドクター天馬を引っ張れ。
But Lunga needed that.
しかしこれではフォルトナー夫妻とマウラー殺し
We just want to question him again.
私が今言ってるのはハイデルベルク城での殺しの件だけだ。
はい。
一気にたくさんの事件が解決するかもしれません。
どういうことだね、ドクター天馬。
勝手なことを言って申し訳ありません、院長。
君には最近いろいろ妙な噂があるようだが、あんなものを私は全然信じていないよ。もう一度考え直して。君
What's going on inside of you, Tenma? I mean, you don't want to bring shame to the hospital, I get that, but...
はい、私だ。警察？ドクター天馬が殺人容疑？
And this is pursued, right? Now we're in full force. Question is he already gone?
各病棟の入り口を塞げ。ドクター天馬はどこだ？
知りません。
そっちはどうした？さっさと探せ。
いや、しかし警部。
Oh, they're in their way.
どきなさい。公務執行妨害だぞ。
ドクター天馬が人殺しなんかするわけがない。
そうだ。
私たちの命を助けてくれた恩人よ。
ドクター天馬は無実だ。
警察は帰れ。
なんだかえらい騒ぎですね。
パトカーが山ほど来てますよ、ドクター天馬。
そうか。何があったんだろう。
I guess he knew it was time to get out. That's what I mean. He's clever, right? He's not... A last look back as it disappears into the distance.
僕は向こうでオペが待ってます。
ドクター天馬。
And the mistakes of the past keep repeating themselves in his head.
僕は間違ってなんかいない。医者どころかただの金の亡者じゃないか。あんなやつ死んだ方がマシだ。
いないんです。
お久しぶりですね、先生。僕ですよ。
And the horror of discovering that.
忘れちゃったかな。あの時の双子のことなんて。僕はあの時死んでいたはずだったんだ。先生が僕を生き返らせてくれたんだ。
Like some Greek tragedy. Light and shadow, well used in that moment. I do really love that.
Today も暑くなりそうだな。あんた夏だってのにそんなに着込んで暑くねえのかよ。なんだいそりゃ。3日前の新聞じゃねえか。今度はフェルデンで中年夫妻がやられたってな。犯人は医者だって話じゃねえか。
Gehirnchirurg unter Mordverdacht.
言ってたな。知り合いでもいるのかい？
Werden.
会えるかどうかわからないが、行かなくちゃならないんだ。
Maybe he wants to kill him now. He has to finish what he started, right? It's all as it should be. I guess this is like half recap episode and half actual episode. But well done, right? I think with a long-standing series like this, with so many episodes, it's probably better to have a little bit more flashbacks, right? Remind people of the important aspects. But then use those and put them into no context. Which is a great way to do it, right? Which is the thing we want from our media. I'm actually not gonna look at the preview. Right, let's talk about this. Bam! Let's get it on the screen. See what we can get out of this. Yeah, we have a little recap. Tenma, right? Such an impressive image in my opinion, right? Eating and crying at the same time, right? There's the intense emotion going on here, but him listening to her and being like, she's kind of right? I know it in deep inside of me. And this is like his start of being, okay, I need to get back to my doctor stuff, right? I need to get back to helping people, and I'm gonna try to do that. I did actually think he was gonna go after her, but he was not. And we do see he's as good as he's always been. And it's really cool. Once again, all the devices, I've been in I've been in a couple of medical operation rooms and whatever before. I've even seen an operation or two. And yes, this is how it looks like. This is literally how it looks like, and it's really cool how one-to-one they're actually doing it, how authentic it's being displayed. And he cleaned himself up, and he's doing stuff again, but we're going to Eva, and holy shit. Look at that. I mean, we have a very divisive picture, right? It's it's slightly seductive. At the same time, it is also showing the decay of her mental state, right? Because she's letting herself go, drinking alcohol, right? Being out of it, just falling asleep on the couch, the glass just slowly getting out of her hand. But we have a new contextualization in this. A contextualization that for us confirms something that we might have just assumed, right? That we might have guessed at, but that was only a possibility. Again, symbolism is so amazing in this show. We do have the picture frame, her on the one side, Tenma's face on the other side, the shadow of the window going through them, separating them. We talked about separation in Spice and Wolf a couple of weeks ago. How it's a very useful tool in the visualization of things to separate two individuals if we want to represent the divide, right? But this is not a violent divide, at least not at this stage in her processing. She is looking back on this with nostalgia. She's processing it and realizing that Tenma might have been the only person who ever really loved her and showed her affection in that way, right? Without wanting to be there for her money or for anything that is related to her status and money, because he didn't need that, right? He was a very brilliant, talented doctor. He was already in a very good position. And if he hadn't gotten with Eva, he probably would have made chief of surgery anyway. So there was the money motive or the status motive was not here. For her, it was something that she hadn't experienced before, right? Somebody wanting her for herself, even if that self turned out to be not exactly real. I mean, it's a part of herself, right? The affectionate parts of her are certainly also part of herself, right? I do always advocate for our masks are also a part of ourselves, right? But only an incomplete part, right? And only all of our masks together make out the person we truly are, in combination with what we feel inside and what we don't project to the outside. But yeah, I do think to a degree she can be loving, she can be affectionate, but the problem is that the way she was brought up by her father, by society around her, that has been one of the main the key issues in her just seeing everything as a transaction, as a political game, right? A game of relationship, and more or less manipulating people through her behavior. That doesn't mean that all she is and all she showed Tenma was fake, but that does mean that there was an aspect of herself that Tenma only discovered when he was falling out of her father's graces and realized that she's more loyal to her father and more can be more cruel if she needs to be than he would ever want, right? But we had these aspects of her shining through to a degree when he was worried about things like patients and whatnot, and actually giving them the appropriate care in the order they actually arrived at the hospital, and she was like, people aren't equal, right? There was a central divide in the fundamental way she understood the world to work, right? And she wanted, or she accepted the world to be, there was a fundamental divide to what Tenma wanted the world to be and understood the world to be and thought was right in the world, right? For her it was money, status makes right? We are better, we get more treatment, we are higher than other people, and for Tenma it's everybody is equal and should be treated equally. And yeah, she's hungover, she is dipping into alcohol abuse due to her grief and frustration about her father and about probably not having any meaningful relationship. We just a little bit later than that get to know that she is divorced 3 times at this point, that she got a lot of money but it doesn't make her happy, right? And she to cope and compensate, right, the coping strategy that she uses is to just drink her worries and her frustration and her depression away. Alcohol makes you forget that, right? Alcohol makes you feel a little bit giddy or good, despite maybe when coming off of it feeling terrible about it. And the problem is, right, when you come off of it, in addition to like the biological signs of withdrawal, there's the psychological ones as well. All the problems that you had, that you kept shoving off, they just come flooding back in. And because you're not used to having these problems in your thought process all the time, you're not as used to them anymore. It's the same with like medicine against anxiety. Stuff like Xanax and whatnot was heavily overused. Even today it's still, but was heavily overused for a good while by people, especially in America, for example, where they just popped in the Xanax when they had anxiety attacks and whatever. But the problem is, once you don't have these like this medication that also has adverse effects on your body, right? Especially if you overuse them, once you don't have that available for some time, or just in reach, right? Or you've already taken the dosage you should be taking, you get into the situation that once you're coming off of it, the fear, the problems, right? All of these things, they might be the same, but you're not as used to them anymore, right? You don't build up resources, right? Mental resources to deal with them. And so when they come back, flooding back in, you feel oftentimes like they're 2 or 3 or 5 times stronger than they originally were. And now you start to develop a fear of the fear itself, right? You start to develop a fear of getting panic attacks, a fear of getting anxiety, a fear of actually feeling these things you're feeling, and then you take more of it. And alcohol works on a similar basis if you're drinking alcohol or to deal with your problems. Yeah, mentally addictive, biologically addictive. It's a slippery slope, right? And you're not always in control when you're drinking alcohol, so you're causing more problems for yourself in addition to that. Yeah, she knows the necktie exactly, and he knew who to go to, but she says nothing because she thinks she can use that to repair her broken relationship to him. But he doesn't trust her, right? This one immense betrayal when he was down on his luck and everybody abandoned him, she abandoned him too. And she was even very malicious looking, right? Very malicious with it. And this is when he saw her or started to understand her as a fake person, right? As somebody who just pretended to love him, which might not, right? On the one hand, maybe, yeah, that's the case, right? But at this point in time, she is in the situation that even if she doesn't love him, she knows that the only one who has ever given her love is he, which makes her desperate for his attention. And she wants to repair that relationship, and she thinks that this is the way to go. I do like the little moments between the patients and Tenma. I do like that Tenma actually is giving her the time of day. He's not walking away. He's like, hey, how you doing? And she's trying to make casual small talk and isn't getting to the point. She's just trying to awaken these feelings again, right? Reminiscent about the past. Great shot, by the way, right? Slightly asymmetrical with the trees, but still symmetrical enough to have like weight of almost equal measure on both sides. We do have the almost symmetrical structure of the building in like right in the center of the image frame, but we do have that little red pillar that is separating the rooms and separating a row of windows, not directly in the middle but slightly to the right. And our subjects are both sitting, if you go by the 3x3 square, they're both sitting at the outside of the middle square of the middle row, right? So we are having a beautiful setup here. Again, like the pillar and the table are slightly below in like the three lower squares. Again, more weight. Like we even get the sky in here, which is like subjects and like whatever, right, is on the ground. Then we have the tree line in the building, and then we have the sky in here. Yeah, she's trying to awaken these feelings in him, and at some point he's like, I realize what you're doing. And it's like, I don't have time for this, right? I have enough shit on my mind, enough shit on my plate. I could be helping people. I have all these lingering feelings in my back going on with Johan and Anna and whatever happened there. Again, a great shot, by the way. Again, a great shot. Slightly to the side, we do have the tree that's piercing out right behind him. The other tree, like the brighter, bigger tree that's framing him in on the left side, like the blinds who are framing him in on the right side. Sky behind him. Interestingly enough, there's just her shot standing up actually has no sky behind her, right? Makes you feel less free and more cornered in, right? More like, right, it feels more confined. And we do have the concrete, the metal, not the metal, but the concrete behind her, which is more of like a semi-grayish stimulus that's coming in here. I do feel like that is probably making the shot relatively, like that's evoking more negative feelings in us than it's evoking positive feelings in the light of like seeing Tenma in front of the sky and the trees and whatnot. But she wants to try it again, and he's like, I appreciate the thought, right? I appreciate that you realize that I was actually in love with you, that I did love you and gave you that affection and attention. But at this point, right, we have broken to the point that even though I'm able to forgive you as a person, I do truly believe that this is the case for Tenma. I have to shut you down here because otherwise maybe there's some lingering feelings that I still had in the back of my mind, right? That is nothing or little more than nostalgia about how I felt about you. That might be creeping up, and then I'm gonna hurt myself again, or you're like indirectly you're gonna hurt me again. So I can't do that because I know that I've been betrayed once, so I can't do that, right? I'm sorry, but... And she's going back into her mode, right? The mode that she learned, that she gets things, probably also learned them with her other husbands as well, that she is getting things if she threatens people, blackmails them, tries to get some kind of power over them, and then she's hoping to kind of rope him in, and he's going out with her a couple of times, and then maybe it works again between them, failing to understand that there's a fundamental break in trust that is very, very, very hard to overcome. It's still possible to overcome that in certain pairings, depending on what situation you were in, right? When you split up, depending on what happened, and depending on the people involved. But she thinks she can get in like that, right? Power plays and whatnot. And this is exactly the wrong thing to do, because by doing that, she shows him she's, to a degree at the very least, still the exact same person that she was back then. And for the very same reason that back then, when she was like, after her father's death, she was like, come on, let's try it again. He was like, no. This is the exact same reason he says no right here, right? The second time. And she doesn't accept that, right? She can't accept that. And now she starts being nasty, right? Because this is also what she learned from her father, maybe from her mother, right? We don't know how her mother was. I do assume she's probably dead, or she was dead at an early age. Or maybe she left the father. That's also possible. Either way, she's spreading these rumors, and then she's immediately going to police, being like, I'll show him. But this is emotional, right? She's not, like, she doesn't gain anything from that other than having an outlet for her emotional frustration, and for having her pride hurt, for having her feelings hurt, right? Reopening that wound, right? That she did herself, right? By approaching him and by trying it again. But yeah. The adverse reaction, I'll show you. And Tenma is resigning because he feels the wind blowing, right? That's what you say, right? He can smell it in the wind, that there's a storm coming for him, that there's stuff coming that he doesn't want to be involved in. And if it's gonna be this way, right? If he's gonna be pursued, or if he's gonna be suspected, if there's gonna be people moving in on him, he'd rather be free in order to stop the person that he still feels that lingering thought in the back of his mind he wants to and needs to stop, because he is responsible for it. Even if he didn't commit the murders himself, he feels himself absolutely responsible for these murders. And again, great how they put like the patience between the police and him, showing once again that people believe in his good nature, that they don't throw him under the bus. Now obviously you can believe somebody is great for saving your life, but I think it is not just that, because if Tenma just saved their lives and then did nothing else, right? If he was cold and if he kept the patients at a distance, this would not be the response of the patients. They would still be like, oh man, he saved my life. But then they would be like, I can't believe he would do something like this, but I guess it's true. But that connection he forms every time he interacts with a patient, that empathy he has for them, the way he understands their personal situation and feels with them, the way he tries to do anything in his power to make their concerns go away, and to but to be honest with them, be like, look, here's how it is, this is your condition, whatever, but don't worry, like, there is hope, right? He drudges that balance between hope and being honest, right? Being clear with those people. And I think they appreciate that very much and feel that he feels for every one of them. And that is why they're standing in Lunge's way here. I expected more of Lunge, to be honest, but maybe it's too early in the story. Like that the whole Johan reveal, and that he revealed himself to Tenma, has kind of thrown me off with the timing, because I didn't expect it to happen so early. So maybe I'm putting a little bit too much weight onto that, and I should be waiting a little bit more for Lunge to come around. Yeah, and we do have, again, we're looking back on this, and he's ruminating on it because he feels guilty about it. And we're going into a new direction, right? Here, we do have actually new information right here, and I want to look that up. Alright, we're getting into summer, right? And this is something this guy notices, right? So if the police ask him, he can probably say, yeah, this guy was a little bit suspicious, all bundled up, whatever. Read the newspaper from whatever about this murderer doctor. But this has been a time skip. He looks a little bit more gruff. This is also why the why the guy doesn't immediately recognize him based on the picture. But we do have, like, it's cool that we actually see the thing and can almost read it. I'm sure you can kind of enhance that and read it more or less, right? Düsseldorf, blah 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 blah, wo doch noch Ladentisch, blah blah blah. You can identify some words, right? 300,000 euro. Euro? Really? 1995. Does that read euro? Wouldn't that be a mistake? I don't know. I think I remember the euro coming out like in the 2000s, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they already started exchanging whatever. 64 or 64%, 64%. Yeah, we do have various words that we can. I think the big words we could actually read. Gefahndet wird nach Dr. Kenzo Tenma, dem Hauptverdächtigen im Serienmörder, probably Serienmörder, Fall an älteren Ehepaaren. To translate that, alright, the police are searching for Dr. Kenzo Tenma, the main suspect in a serial murder case on or regarding older couples, right? Very rough translation, but that's what it says. Yeah, middle-aged couple in Verden was killed. And he's on his way to Verden because he's like, I'm on the trail now. I'm going after this bastard. I'm gonna fucking put him in the ground. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, right? I don't know if Dr. Tenma is capable of murder, right? That is the big question we have to ask. And also, where's Nina? Where's Anna? And what is she doing right now? But yeah, all questions that will be answered next time. I don't exactly, I need to know where Verden is, but yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. In terms of like in relation to Düsseldorf and whatnot. I think Verden, wasn't Verden, I might be wrong, but wasn't Verden like the home of Michael Schumacher, like the Formula 1 driver? Possible. We'll look it up next time. Anyway, this was Monster Episode 8. I do hope you enjoyed all of that. It was a little bit recappy, but we had a lot of interesting context coming out of this. If you did like my video, subscribe for more monster content on a weekly basis, right? Give me a thumbs up for that. I would really appreciate that. Other than that, do check out the Discord and Patreon. And yeah, thanks to my patrons. See you next time.